On this next one, I'm going to use my graphing calculator to make a table of values for this. So I'm going to plug that in, and I'm going to just take a look at where my points are. If I'm doing this by hand, I can figure out where my vertex is by doing negative b over 2a. The other thing is your final is multiple choice. So if you can do some process of elimination, like this parabola is going to be going upside down because that negative out front means that my parabola is going to look like a frowny face because it's being negative. So my x value for my vertex looks like it's going to be a -2. So when I go to make this table of values, I want the middle number to be -2, and I'll go like this. Now I'm going to jump over and look at where my points are on my graphing calculator. You'll have to type that in. -2 is at -1, -3, and -9. Cool. Everything is good to go. Now I'm going to plot these points. Now, when I plot the points, it's just less than. It's not less than or equal to. So my points are going to be open, dots. -4 is at -9. -3, -3. Got this guy, and this guy. And now I'm going to connect that with a dotted line. And let's test the point 0, 0. So I'm going to test this guy right here. Is 0 less than, if I plug in 0 here, my A term and my B term just cancel. So if you don't want to do that every time, don't. Just eliminate your A and B term, and you're just left with your C term. So is 0 less than -9? No. So I have to shade on the part on the inside here because the outside is not the solution. So everything on the inside of this parabola is a solution. And if you don't believe me, plug in a point, it will work. Number 7, find the zeros of the equation using the quadratic formula. We are going to also need to simplify our radical on this one. So if I remember my quadratic formula, -b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. X is, now my A is 7, my B is 2, and my C is -1. So I have my -2 plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And when I do this, I'm going to simplify my discriminant first, because that's what Miss Riddle told me to do, so I'm going to follow her directions. 2 squared minus 4 times 7 times -1. And I need to look at this part first, and then the x squared, or the 2 squared second. So -4 times a +7 times a -1, that's going to be a +28. And now bring down my b squared. I got my 4. So that means when I add these together, it's 32. That's my discriminant. So all of this can be simplified down to just 32. Now I'm going to keep going. So I have -2 plus or minus the square root of 32 over 2 times 7, which is 14. I need to simplify down the square root of 32. I am seeing that I could take out 4 and an 8. I'm also seeing 4 and 2 here. Take a look. I have a matching 4. My 2 would be left on the inside. So my 4 goes out to the front. My 2 is left on the inside. I can also do the factoring tower. Remember that one. She showed us how to do it. 32 is on the outside. Just keep going through. Like that. I'm running out of space. Let's take this. Okay, I had to go all the way until my 1 was at the top. Now I take out my pairs. There's a 2, there's a 2, and there's a 2 left inside. So those are the guys that went out to the outside. That's where I got the 4. And then the 2 that stays on the inside is right there. So that's my simplified radical form. So I get, for my answer here, x equals -2 plus or minus 4 square root of 2 over 14. Now, I'm not quite done because I'm noticing that this 2, this 4, and this 14 are still divisible by something. They're all divisible by 2. So I'm going to go back through and I'm going to divide each of those numbers by 2 and check it out. I can take that down all the way to that simplified version right there. Okay, and that's my answer. All right, number 8, solve this problem. So on number 8, I can do my quadratic formula. I'm going to label that my A is 4, my B is 4, and I don't have this set equal to 0 yet. So I actually have to rewrite this 4x squared plus 4x. And I'm going to bring my 3 over to that side because they have to be set equal to 0. And now I can see that my C is equal to -3. Those are my 3 terms. X is equal to -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. I'm going to do my discriminant all by itself. B squared minus 4ac. I'm seeing that these 3 numbers on that side, 4 times 4 times 3, 48. And it's a -4 times a -3, so that's why it's positive. And we have 16. 16 plus 48 is 64. Oh, rad. 8 times 8 fell on the floor, picked it up, and it was 64. That's so cool because now when I simplify this, I can do the square root of 64. Yay, that's so cool. I'm so excited. Plus or minus the square root of 64 over 8. That simplifies to -4 plus or minus 8 over 8. So one of my answers is when x equals -4 plus 8 over 8. And the other one is when x equals -4 minus 8 over 8. -4 plus 8 is 4 over 8, which is 1/2. So there's one of my answers, 1/2. And -4 minus 8 is -12 over 8. That simplifies to, if I divide the top by 4, I get 3. And if I divide the bottom by 4, I get 2. So x equals -3/2 for that one. All right. And let's just remember that your standard form is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c.